attitudes in the church when it comes to the man of God. That he's an employee of the church. He's called by God. And if you don't believe he's called by God, y'all need to go someplace else. I ain't trying to get you to lose members or anything, but I'm serious. But the flip side of that, if you believe he's called by God, then you need to bring yourself under submission to the man of God. And the same thing is in a house. God has order. He has order. He has alignment. In 1 Corinthians 11:3 says this, but I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. God has a chain of command that he has a, now when we say that, I know men are pumping their fists, women are recoiling a little bit. We're not talking about dictatorship here, y'all. We're talking about, because remember now it says Christ came under God, but then Jesus said he thought it not robbery to make himself equal with God because in essence he is God, so he was equal with God, but in God's plan he had an order in order to function. If you don't have order, you got chaos, y'all. And one way this was illustrated to us years ago, we have 4 kids, 3 daughters and a son. At this time we only had 3 kids. Monica was about 3. And Philip was about 6 years old. And we were in Columbus, Ohio, and I wasn't home. Kim told me about this later. And our kids are great. I mean, they get along great. People always complimented on how they well behaved in public and everything. I mean, when we had 4 kids, we take them to the restaurant. People would literally walk over to us and say, "Oh, your kids do so great." And we say, "Thank God for that." At home is a different story. They argue and carry on, and they just argue. So this was the day Kim heard Monica and Philip just arguing about something, 3 and 6 years old, because Philip was trying to get Monica to do something and she wouldn't do it. I don't know about those females in our family; they just resist. The youngest one was the worst of all over the case. She listened to nobody. So Kim heard them arguing, and she said, "I'm gonna take care of this." So she was getting ready to walk around, but as she was walking around the corner to really squash what was going on, she heard Philip say, "Let me tell you how things go in this house." So she's walking around the corner. She said she stopped. She said, "Let me hear how things go in this house." So she stopped and she just listened. And Philip said to his sister, "You need to understand, Daddy's mommy's boss, mommy's Danielle's boss, Danielle's my boss, and I'm your boss." And for the next 10, 15 years, that girl did everything he told her to do. Now when Kim was telling me she thought about it, she said, "Dexter's not my boss." But then God gave her some insight. For a 6-year-old kid, that was the only language he understood to describe the order that he see in the household. And so even as a 6-year-old, he understood this order. Now, of course, he was using it for his own good right now. But he did understand there was order. And this is something I want to say to men real quick. And this is really insightful. But he also recognized that he was under authority. He wasn't just saying, "I'm got authority over you, but I also come under authority to someone over me." And so one of the things we talk about being a kingdom husband or being a kingdom man, yes, God may have called you to be the spiritual leader in your home, but he's also placed you under authority to Jesus Christ. That's why I say to women, when your husband is acting up, you don't gotta argue with your husband. Go talk to his boss. And the reason why that's so important, I learned this several years after Kim and I were married, because I kept trying to get her to do stuff, and I don't know if y'all know Kim or not. Kim just got a mind of her own. But that's like every person got a mind of their own. And I learned this, that you can't make a grown person do anything they don't want to do. And I'm like, what I'm going to do, beat her up? You know what I mean? She might take me. 3 keys for a husband real quick. Ephesians 5:25 says, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. There's an element of sacrifice in being a husband, y'all. Because the Bible says we are to love our wives as Christ loved the church. I mean, the way Christ loved the church, y'all, is just amazing. To even be challenged to live up to that is intimidating. But that's why Ephesians 5:18 gave us the Spirit of God and lives inside of us to empower us. So wives, I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Wives, when the Bible says that you are to submit to your husband, and you're like, I got to submit to this man. Oftentimes you think you got the harder job. But the Bible said he is to love you like Christ loved the church, y'all. He's to love you sacrificially. He's to love you to lay his life down for you, literally, but also emotionally and spiritually. He's not to be like, I remember Sinbad heard Sinbad years ago, and he was clean joke. All the jokes pretty clean, y'all. Y'all a comedian now. Y'all know anything about Sinbad. But he's talking about how he was on a date, and he's talking about how you can't outrun a bear. He said he was running with his girlfriend, he running shit for her, he tripping her. You know, he doing like this. You know, so he called us to do that. He called us to lay our lives down. So if you and I are going to be kingdom husbands, we are to love our wives like Christ loved the church. But here's the key. You cannot do it in your own strength. At the core of all our relationship issues really is our relationship with Christ. Because if we're not walking with God, we cannot do the things that God is calling us to do, y'all. So if you're not spending time with the Lord on a regular basis, Sunday morning is not enough. I don't care what great messages you hear. I don't care how well the praise team sings. If all you're giving yourself is what you get on a Sunday, you're going to be spiritually anemic. I'm looking at y'all. Nobody in here eat once a week. There may be a couple questionable ones, but most of y'all, nobody's in here eating once a week. And the reason why, because we understand if we eat only once a week, our energy level's going to go. We're going to be so tired. We're going to be dragging. We understand we need to nourish ourselves with food. The same thing applies spiritually. And we're going to be the kind of husbands, and we're going to be the kind of men of God that God is calling us to be. So first is live with your wife in a loving way. Honor your wife. Pray for your wife. Not only pray for your wife, let me encourage you to pray with your wife. There's something powerful about praying together with one another. Let me jump to kingdom wives. In kingdom wives, I just want to touch on this issue of submission just real quick. This issue of submission is that we need to explore this concept of submission because God, through his word, he tells us, tell the women to submit to their earthly husband. In 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, but I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. Biblical submission does not mean that a wife forfeits the right to have opinions, to make decisions, to disagree with her husband. Biblical submission does not mean you're a doormat. Biblical submission does not mean you throw your brain in neutral. That's not biblical submission. That's manipulation. Biblical submission is that you're willing to align yourself under the God-given authority that God has given your husband. That don't mean you don't talk through stuff. When Kim and I, we want to do major things, I don't just go out and buy a car, y'all. We talk about that. That impacts our whole household. That impacts our family. You know, when we moved to Atlanta, I didn't just say, baby, you know, got the tickets. We going to Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta by myself. Because we still got to work with each other. Submission doesn't mean that your husband, he just does whatever he needs to do. But it does mean that you come under authority, and the issue is this. You're not going to always agree on what needs to be done, and that's a sticky point. Even after talking through stuff, you don't always come to the conclusion of agreement. So then what do? The first thing I would say, I would encourage you both to do, let's pray a little longer about this. And then after you give yourself a set amount, say 3 days, a week, a couple weeks, whatever it is, and at that point you're still kind of not on the same page, somebody has to make a decision if there's a deadline for the decision to be made. And at that point, you're like me in my prayer. God, I don't trust them. And God saying, I ain't calling you to trust them, I'm calling you to trust me. If you believe that God is the head of that man, and that the Spirit of God lives in that man, and that God can change the hearts of anybody he wants to change, and you still don't agree with the direction, you submit to the authority that God has placed in your husband, but at the same time praying, okay, God, I turn this over to you. I'm trusting you to do what you need to do. And even if it don't go the way it needs to go, you need to then say, Romans 8:28, somehow, God, you're going to work some good out of this, as opposed to saying, see, I wasn't for this in the first place. That conversation is not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Also, real quick, the submission here means that there's not a difference in the value of husband and wife. Meaning, because the Bible says wives are to submit to their husband, it doesn't mean the wife is less than the husband. The Bible says Jesus submitted to his father, but he said, I don't think it's robbery. I don't feel like I couldn't call myself equal with him. It's not, because I am equal with him. I am God. All that makes God, God makes me God. But yet, I'm going to submit to his authority. So it's not that one is less or greater. Just different, y'all. And that's some of the stuff we're dealing with in our culture today. It's not that black or white, one is better than others. It's different. It's not that yellow or brown or one is better than others. It's just different. And we got to be willing to bring ourselves under submission and authority of Jesus Christ and having value in who we are and who God created us to be. Let me close with one last thing, and this is to our single folks. God can use your life as a single to make a kingdom impact. As a matter of fact, the Apostle Paul said, I prefer that you be like me. Paul was talking about he was single. He was saying because when you're married, then not only do you focus on the affairs of the kingdom, but you still got a spouse that you still got to provide for, you still got to care for. You just can't neglect your spouse. So you can't give 100% of your attention being at the church all day. I'm convinced if somebody at the church 24/7, they don't want to go home for a reason. They don't want to go home. They ain't got to do that loyal or faithful. They don't want to go home. But that's part of being married. But then Paul said, if you were like me, single, while you single, I want to say, give God everything you have. Give God everything you have. Enjoy life. Don't wait to get married to feel like you've been made whole. Because if you're not whole as a single, getting married won't make you whole. If you got issues as a single, they just get worse when you get married because now you got somebody you got to else deal with. So God is calling you as a single person too to make an impact because you're a family. You're a family of one. And God wants to use your family to make an impact. To our single moms, I want to encourage you, pour into your children. And I know there's this temptation that you want to give them more than what you had and you want to be there for them. But don't let their hobbies trump their being impacted by the things of God. We serve a great God, y'all. And maybe you haven't been operating in that way, but remember what I've been saying. God is a God of another chance. Today is a day of a turnaround. Today is a day that you can write a new story in your life. It's a matter of are we willing to turn and surrender and submit to him. Let's pray. Father, we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity that you've given us to be here today. We thank you for the people of God that you've called out today. Oh God, you meet every need that we have. Father, we look to you and we ask that you might continue your divine work in us. Lord,